Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Gillcast. You might be listening to this on the Sports Grid Fantasy Football podcast feed. You might be listening to this on the RotoGrinders Daily Fantasy Football feed. So Sammy, I mean, just total MIA. I mean, this guy is on a beach. He's like, we don't really know what he's doing. Guy's not working. He somehow was able to enter a contest today, but not able to join us for the show. He duped me in the contest, and then we wanted to have Blender on, but Blender is feeling under the weather, so Blender's not joining us. So it's just Nate and I. Maybe the first time ever in the history of the show, it's just been you and I. I know Sammy and I have done it before. I know, yeah, but there we go, buddy. It's you. I mean,
I'm sure there's been times Sammy's flaked on us before, couldn't get his computer on because he's a freaking boomer. But yeah, this one. I mean, he's like on a beach. He posts these weird, and it's like, are you at a playground? I'm confused. But he's in Mexico or something. I don't know.
Mexico with his children during December. But it's like one thing I'd understand if you want to take a 2-week vacation with your children to Mexico. If you lived where you and I live, where it's horrible outside.
Not when you live in San Diego.
Yeah, it's like what is it's like, dude, you want to date at the beach? Like, just walk outside your front door. So I don't really get it there. I gotta say, probably the most useless day of contests on DraftKings for me. I entered $837 worth of contests in cash games with this lineup, and I returned $843.10. So just really not worth it. And I mean, just running so bad. This Kenneth Walker injury, I mean, because we had people who had played ETN dead. We had them drunk, stone dead.
Yeah, it was a super tilting day. I mean, the Lawrence injury, obviously he came back and was fine, but I was like tilting my face off the whole halftime. And then there was the Kenneth Walker injury. Then there was there was a million things injury wise that happened today that just made today not fun. Even though it was like a profitable day, it was like I was tilting most of the day, basically like I was losing everything.
Well, so it was sort of interesting in that there was like a core of guys who were really good plays, and there were a couple lineups who ended up being pretty duped, but the overlap wasn't that insane because of the price discrepancy in terms of the 2v2s. So it started out at quarterback. I mean, pretty much everybody played Joseph Burrow or Trevor Lawrence, and Trevor Lawrence, I mean, he didn't get the, like, I guess he got 16 with the ankle injury, so he didn't absolutely kill you. Burrow was 47% owned in the massive $50. Trevor Lawrence was 23. I guess some people played Mike White and Justin Herbert. And then at running back, it was Pirine, who was like the lock. But I was surprised to see him only come in at 51%. Do you think that was just that some people thought Mixon still might play?
I think so. That's the only thing that explains it to me, because Pirine was a better play this week than last week. I mean, it's a much better game environment. I mean, this was like the game of the slate. And so him at 6K when all these other running backs near him were, I don't know how he wasn't 80% owned.
Like, well, I mean, we've seen Kenneth Walker 80% owned. We've seen Tony Pollard 80% owned. Or maybe some site didn't have him projected that strong and had the most shocking thing to me, this blew my mind. Nick Chubb was 20% owned in cash games on DraftKings. I'm realizing now that's how my lineup ended up making money, was because people played Nick Chubb.
I don't know how you pay $8,000 for Nick Chubb in cash when there's Josh Jacobs, Austin Eckler, Pirine, Walker, ETN. Like I don't even think I considered him. I considered
Pirine, Eckler, Walker, Jacobs, ETN, and Zonovan Knight, and that was it. Those were the only guys I considered for cash games.
I considered Zonovan Knight for like a half a second, and then realized that has potential to go real bad, real quick.
And it kind of did. It kind of did. Ty Johnson played a lot, and then honestly, I think it just was that they ended up running so many raw plays as a team that ended up being really good for Knight, because for a while during the game, he had like a total snowflake situation going on. I mean, I guess he ended up getting to 15 carries. So I guess that was it. It was that he really wasn't splitting any of the carry work with James Robinson. But Ty Johnson got 7 targets, third on the team. So there was definitely room for him getting super squeezed in the spot. I think, did we both end up playing? Yeah, we both. Oh, you played Jacobs over Eckler.
I played Jacobs over Eckler.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, I mean,
good fucking call. The Chargers stink.
Well, I mean, yeah, let's get into the lineup. So in the 4-man, because we had Blender, but Blender's sick. But in the 4-man, I had a 155.36. I played Lawrence, Jacobs, Walker, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Wilson, Collins, Freiermuth, Pirine, and Titans. So I think all of us played the same wide receiver core of Amon-Ra St. Brown, Garrett Wilson, Nico Collins. I don't think I really struggled with Nico as much as you did. I think you were trying to get off Nico.
He sucks, dude. I was trying to get off.
I know he sucks,
so
but he's
bad.
got the volume. But the volume was like guaranteed there at his price.
Well, Blender, he's not here to defend himself, so I'm not going to go in on him too hard. But he did the 2v2 to avoid playing Nico Collins, so he played Zay Jones and Travis Etienne over Kenneth Walker and Nico Collins, which I looked at. But I was like, no, I want to play Kenneth Walker.
The point of not playing Nico Collins is to not play a wide receiver who sucks. So why would you play Zay Jones? I mean, Zay Jones is legitimately an awful NFL wide receiver. Like, the only reason you can play Zay Jones is volume. It's the exact same play as Nico Collins, except $700 more. Maybe just because of the better game environment.
Well, way better game environment, better quarterback. He was just coming off of, like, I think a 15 target game, if memory serves me correctly. But the reason why I didn't play him was he was a legit game time decision with the chest injury. And I was like, that just seems, and I really didn't want to play ETN. I thought ETN was horrible. And this is why. The first reason being, you think Travis Etienne is a pass catcher. He's not. He looks like it. That's how he played in college, but that's not how he's been utilized as a Jaguar at all.
Yeah, I would make the case that he is still that guy. They're just not using him that way, and I don't know why. But he has that talent in him.
But he only has 2 games this year with more than 3 targets. He's got no games with more than 3 receptions. He does not have a receiving touchdown. I mean, all of this stuff just it's not it's like the same shit you'd say about Kenneth Walker. Like, people would be like, "How are you playing Kenneth Walker? He's not a pass catcher." But I mean,
add to the fact that he has a Liz Frank injury that took him out for a whole year, and then injured
and his
last
foot
week,
injured again. I thought,
literally, it's one of the most fragile injuries. Like, anything could have happened during that game. Like, his injury risk in game was much higher than, the Kenneth Walker crap, whatever. But in game injuries can happen to anybody. But I don't know, a week after he was just pulled from the entire game, there was no reason for me to go there when there was so many other running back values.
No, I mean, just even if you say there's like, I don't know, 10, 15% chance of re-injury, that's enough to be like, I'm not. I mean, I thought he was a good tournament play, especially what he ended up coming in at, because he wasn't super chalky in tournaments, but I was not that. I just thought Kenneth Walker was clearly better than him. And I mean, I was tilting my face off about Nico Collins all day, because what I wanted to do was I just wanted to play Sky Moore and Josh Jacobs over Kenneth Walker and Nico Collins, which, obviously in the end, I don't even think Sky got a target. I actually think would have been.
Sky is the biggest. I've chased Sky all year, and it's just not going to.
Well, I should have, the thing I should have realized was it's definitely not going to happen in a game they might lose. Like, it's definitely not going to happen in a game. I think the reason why he was getting so much work the last couple weeks was because those were basically like non-competitive games. Like, they were just beating ass. Like, that should have been something I thought about a little bit more. Like, obviously in this game, they used McKinnon way more. And I don't know, the Bengals do just kind of have their number, but in the end, that I didn't have the stones to play Sky Moore in cash. Even though I actually think that team would have ended up scoring more points because Kenneth Walker got hurt. So the team, this is the team I played in full: Burrow, Eckler, Walker, St. Brown, Garrett Wilson, Nico Collins, Harrison Bryant, Samaj P. Ryan, and the Titans defense. Man, Titans defense, don't really know what we were all thinking there. I guess we were thinking. Oh, it's just so funny to see the mass hysteria, because if you were running blended optimals, you weren't actually getting them. You were getting the Steelers, who I think ended up being okay. But you were also getting like Foster, Moreau, and Jacobs, and no Eckler. And I just thought Eckler was kind of a must here, although in the end that ends up looking really stupid too.
Yeah, let's talk about the Eckler versus Jacobs thing, because I went Jacobs, and I actually probably would have gone Jacobs regardless of price. I had them projected very similarly. Obviously, Eckler has much better passing work for sure, but Eckler is not the same like running back like carry share that Jacobs gets. Jacobs gets all of that volume specifically near the red zone. I thought Jacobs' projection here was, I mean, I had it like within 0.0 something. And then when I looked at the salary difference, like I probably would have played Jacobs over Eckler straight up here. So taking the salary discount, it was like, I thought Jacobs was just objectively a better play. But
I mean, it depends on what projection system you look at. Like I had Eckler a little bit higher, but Cardi had Jacobs higher. ETR had Eckler a little bit higher, but 4 had Jacobs. Like it just really just depends on who you're looking at. And in the end, I mean, Jacobs and a better defense would have been the far stronger construction.
Well, the better I mean, that's the reason I smashed, is because I had Jacobs and the better tight end. Because I went Freiermuth over.
Oh, you got 10 points from your tight end, and we all got Samaj Piran. I'm looking at live scoring right now. They just gave him back the rushing bonus. I don't know if that affects anything for you, but he had lost the rushing bonus and they just gave it back to him. So maybe you
let me refresh.
Maybe you just found because my team just went from 148 to 150.
No, didn't change anything.
Or maybe
are you sure?
I think it was Eckler actually. I think it was Eckler.
I was gonna say my winnings didn't change.
I think he just got something at the end of the game or something like that. So, whatever.
Yeah.
Titans defense probably not going to play defenses against Jalen Hurts again. Just probably not going to do that.
Yeah. I don't know what I was thinking. I genuinely am like disappointed in myself for playing Titans D. I actually thought Pat Freiermuth, though. I mean, he had like 76 yards at half. I thought I was gonna like smash. I thought he was gonna get the bonus. I felt really good about the Pat Freiermuth play, but yeah, he didn't do a whole lot.
I mean, he did more. He did more than Mackey Award winner Harrison Bryant, who had one reception.
Yeah, I
mean, people get so. Well, I mean, I guess that's really the overarching point. I don't think it was even that Harrison Bryant was this terrible play. It's that Cleveland scored 0 points on offense. Like you just be going through the box score and you'd be like, oh, it's fine, whatever. No, they looked horrible on offense. They could not do anything. Chubb couldn't do anything. Watson was getting sacked. One of his turnovers. I mean, I get that he's like rusty or whatever, but that does not look like a dude I would have wanted to spend $260 million on or whatever. I mean, he got out YPA'd by Kyle Allen. I mean, it's just really bad by them on offense. They averaged 4.6 yards per carry, 6 point per pass attempt, 28.6 QBR, no touchdowns for Deshaun Watson. Just foul.
I mean, what was it, like 24, 25 dropbacks? Like there's a tight end volume in that offer. That's going to be tough to play in cash, but
yeah, I mean, I liked in theory what you did with Freiermuth. I probably would have just played Foster Moreau, who ended up doing nothing and getting a concussion. What can you do? So I did.
Moreau came back in, I think.
Okay. So I don't want to dunk too hard on Blender because he's not here, but I do think this was not the right team.
I think ETN was bad. I think
ETN was bad. And I also think Zay
ETN
Jones
on
was
a different ETN on a different slate. I think if there was like, how we've had those weeks where there isn't great running back value, I think that makes sense. But I think ETN in comparison to Eckler, in comparison to Jacobs, in comparison to P. Ryan, in comparison to Walker is like significantly worse than the rest of those guys. So there's 4 strong running back plays and you play the guy with the most the guy who doesn't get the receiving workload
Just
and
highest
injury
risk. Highest risk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think ETN was great in tournaments because he came in like he has massive upside in this spot, but in cash, I didn't see it.
Yeah. All right.
I thought Sammy was going to play ETN. That seems like a Sammy play.
That totally does. I just think he was low effort because he was on vacation and he just duped me. He just played the same team as me. I mean, I would say Harrison Bryant feels on brand for him. Nico Collins feels very off brand for Sammy. I would say he's much more like, I thought he would have played Trevor Lawrence and ETN and then like a 6K wide receiver. Like I don't even know. Sammy would have.
Yeah,
Sammy
he probably.
he would have played like Ayuk or something. I don't know. Like he just would have found.
No, he probably would have played like Devontae Smith or something.
Sure.
Like some 6K like guy that I never considered that would smash.
Yeah, I mean that's just that's pretty much the way the world. All right, let's do tournament teams. So the two games I really wanted to stack were the Jets and the Vikings and the Chiefs and the Bengals. Neither really ended up getting there. Let's see here. What was the winning team of the big red zone? Winning team of the big red zone. Mike White stack with no bring back. It was Mike White, Samaj P. Ryan, David Montgomery, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Garrett Wilson, Christian Watson, Cole Kmet, Devontae Adams, and the Rams defense. Devontae Adams, 40 burger at 10% owned. Pretty good play. Christian Watson at 16%, pretty gnarly. The only guys single digit owned in the winning team were Mike White, Cole Kmet, and the Rams D. So pretty hard to win. Pretty hard to win these tournaments. So my main team, Mahomes, 7%. If you tell me that, I'd probably like play more in this slate. I thought he would be owned. I was shocked to see this. P. Ryan at 32. Kenneth Walker at 8%. Again, absolutely unbelievable to me.
I'm so tilted about this Kenneth Walker thing. It should have been an absolute like monster day. Kenneth Walker should have had 2 or 3 touchdowns in this game. Like he would have eaten. I'm so upset.
Yeah, he was. Okay, Smith-Schuster, 7%. He did nothing, obviously. Maybe the worst play I've ever made. Now there's been a lot of them.
Wait. Can I guess?
Yes, of course.
Chris Moore?
No, come on. I'm not that bad.
Chris Moore.
No, I'm not that bad. I played Sky Moore in a vacuum, fine. At 18%, legitimately the worst play available. I mean, so
Wait a
bad.
second. What was Mahomes' ownership?
7%. People were just using him as as like a filler, as like, so like I want to stack, I want to play Justin Jefferson, I want to play Devontae Adams, whatever. So I'm going to use Sky Moore.
What was Burrow's percent? Because I'm guessing every Sky Moore team that wasn't Mahomes was a Burrow team.
I got this pulled up on desktop, so I can't find the specific percentages. Okay, then the rest of this I will find that though. I thought getting pretty weird. So I'll play St. Brown. That was fine. Harrison Bryant, again, 17%. Not very good, but just allowed for the salary. And I'm like kind of done caring about tight ends. Like tight ends just don't produce any points. They really do not. T. Higgins at 14%, Steelers D at 23%. This team is not very good. This team did not min cash. It fit into my theory of wanting to stack and double stack Kansas City, Cincinnati, but that game didn't even end up being that high scoring relative to some of the other bonanza spots.
Yeah.
So what can you do?
I had an okay day in tournaments. I kind of built around the Detroit Jacksonville game. So my two teams, I had 2 teams that were 176.5 and then 175.6. My 175 team was, it was a Trevor Lawrence double stack. So it was Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram, and I brought it back with DeAndre Swift.
Good play.
Which I really liked. DeAndre Swift was 5.5% owned at 5,600. And I just think, I mean, he is getting healthier every week, and now is the time to play him, not at 6.5 when he's, getting cucked by Williams every goal line. But so it was good to see Swift's Swift getting some work in the red zone. So yeah, Lawrence, Jacobs, Swift, Devontae Adams was, like you mentioned, like single digit owned. Kirk, and then my punt was Chris Moore, like I said, who got like a big play at the very end and came to life. Evan Ingram, who did get the touchdown. Samaj P. Ryan, who was only 30% owned, and Commanders. So I felt pretty good about playing a chalky running back in P. Ryan. I worry less about running back chalk in tournaments than I do wide receiver chalk. So I excluded
I
Garrett
totally
Wilson.
agree.
I excluded Garrett Wilson from every build in tournaments because it was like, I'm not going to play a 50% owned wide receiver in tournaments. What did Wilson end up at in tournaments? Because I thought he was going to be mega chalk, and he smashed, but it was just
30. So I did play him on a team. So he was 35% in the 100K red zone.
Yeah. After getting a price bump and that ownership, I was like, yeah, I was fine with the full fade of him. So this team ended up 175. I felt pretty good about that. The other team,
Burrow, by the way, 21% in the red zone.
Well, dang. The other team I had in single entry,
Nico Collins was 21%.
Nico's like a cash play, but not tournament. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was again just another version of the Detroit Jacksonville stack. I went with a Goff stack, so it was Goff, Swift, and St. Brown, but I triple stacked it with Brock Wright. At 2,800, I just think he was like a great addition. Brought it back with Ingram, then had Amari Cooper, Jacobs, Devontae Adams, and Falcons D. So pretty much the Devontae Jacobs in 4 of my 5 single entry teams was like what pushed almost all of them at least to him in cash, because Devontae was super low owned. And
so you were playing Adams and Jacobs together.
Yeah, because I thought I was going to get leverage.
I don't really hate it. What Chargers were you using with them? Like Palmer, or just saying Chargers stink. These dudes are good.
Yeah, because I just think Vegas is so tightly correlate, like you know exactly where that offense is going. And so I thought Jacobs would be great leverage off of the Eckler chalk, and Devontae I thought was like the best wide receiver play, like projection to ownership compared to Tyreek was the other guy that I was considering, but I went Devontae this week.
Yeah. I mean, hey, you love to see it. One of the few, one of the proud. I mean, a couple of the other, I had no sweats this week, but I was pretty into that Jets Vikings game, because I did like playing chalky Garrett Wilson, because I knew no one was going to be playing Justin Jefferson, no one was going to be playing Kirk Cousins, no one was going to be playing TJ Hawkinson, and I mean those guys all did shit. But Kirk Cousins was 1% owned, and Justin Jefferson was 4%, and TJ Hawkinson was 3%. So I just figured I could play.
Then it's fine to play Wilson. But if you're playing Wilson as like a one-off in a non-game stack, like I just think that's bad. But again, that goes back to the blender conversation from last week.
Yeah. It's I don't know, man. No sweats all year. It hurts, and I really got to get back into the lab, because Sky Moore at 18% is just 18% Sky Moore, man. That is a lot of people who clicked on him.
I guess you just got to think that the punt in the highest total game that everybody's trying to play is just going to be steamed mega. Like,
no, I mean, I do get that, and he's been playing, and he has 12 targets each of the last 2 weeks, but you sort of figure that that's like you're not getting Sky Moore in the optimizer. Like, he's projecting for like 3 points on all these places. So that I guess it just means that people were touting Sky Moore is what it's got to be. Is every daily fantasy site was telling people about Sky Moore, because you would not be getting him with an optimizer at all, I don't think.
I think you might. Under 4K, there weren't any like decent wide receivers. I mean, it was like Chris Moore, DeAndre Carter. I mean, Sky Moore was probably like the 3rd or 4th. And then anything that was trying to get game stacks, like you're going to get a lot of Sky Moore.
And I guess it was the most. I guess it would be the equivalent of like if DeAndre Carter was minimum salary instead of 3,900 or whatever. Like probably that.
And it was the
would have
Chiefs
been.
Chargers. Yeah,
Yeah,
if it was
yeah.
the Chiefs Chargers or something like that, it would have been that would have been the game. But
Yeah.
yeah, not a lot to take away. Like I have no.
No,
Like,
I have settled into like more of like a process. Like I'm not just throwing darts. It's like, well, I'm not just trying to play, 60% cumulative ownership teams anymore. And like I'm playing some of these big, Chiefs Bengals game stacks. I had some Raiders Chargers stuff. Like it's just a matter of and Blender, I mean, to his point, if we're gonna dunk on his cash game team, I mean, he probably is the best at explaining this of being like, you can play like chalky pieces as long as you are doing it in such a way that no one else is doing, like whether it be spending up at a position no one else is spending up at, or playing a 3% owned defense and a 2% owned tight end or whatever. It's just a hard game, man. Everyone's pretty good at the game now.
Yeah, I've actually gotten less chalky or more chalky and less off the board. I think early on in the season, I was doing.
Yeah, you were playing some
wacky,
funky goddamn shit. You played Sammy Watkins not even in week 1, bro.
Where what was it, like 3-4 weeks ago? Sammy was like, Nate, get a freaking hold of yourself. And I think I have like my GPP performance over the last 4 weeks has actually been a little bit better. So maybe settling in a little bit process wise. All
right. Well, everyone, that's it. Tell Sammy to enter back into the United States. Hope Blender gets feeling better. And hopefully we have the gang all back together next week for the program. See y'all then.